Mecklenburg County. So that's the more traditional radar that you're used to seeing. So yes, we're still getting these pockets of heavy rain. We had a pretty good storm blow through here just a couple minutes ago.
It's much quieter right now, but we are still seeing a little bit more of a steady rain. And we've just walked outside to kind of see what's going on. You can almost see the pattern of these clouds. There's a lot of moisture. We've been talking about that, no surprise, but you can even see that with the clouds. And even driving in, there's a lot of low-level clouds, so it's really not much with these storms. They'll have some rotation to them, and it doesn't take much for a tornado to form. So on the leading edge of these storms, initially we're seeing the wind issue and the issue with tornadoes, and then back behind it with the heavy rain, the flooding issues like you've been seeing. And as Al was just talking about earlier, we're keeping a close watch on what's going on to our southwest. Those are more storms that are moving up out of South Carolina right now. Some of those storms are tornadic. In fact, right around Lawrence, South Carolina right now, and right around Clinton, South Carolina, there's a tornado warning. That, if it stays on the same trajectory, that would put it more toward the Charlotte metro area, Rock Hill, Union County here in about the next 30 to 45 minutes. So again, as Al was talking about and Jonathan was talking about earlier, if you live in Rock Hill, you live in Monroe, Union County, get ready for this, Lancaster as well, because you're going to have some of that heavy rain, and initially it may be more tornadic, or you may have the issue with damaging winds. And then back behind it, we're seeing all these flash flood warnings that are continuing, especially for areas to the west of I-85, like Lincoln County, Cleveland County, Catawba County, up toward Caldwell County. So the foothills all the way to the mountains, still seeing the heavy rain. Again, we do have a tornado watch, which just means conditions are favorable for tornadoes to form, and that watch continues until 5 o'clock. So this will continue throughout the afternoon hours. That's why a lot of school systems have released early because of this severe weather. They're trying to get the kids maybe home out ahead of these storms forming. If you are going to be out and about, use a lot of caution, but even throughout the afternoon commute or early evening commute, you could still be dealing with the high water, and that could stay around for a little bit while longer. Of course, we'll send it back into the studio. We'll keep a close watch on what's going on out here, as well as online and on radar. Right now, we'll send it back into John and Mary.
All right, thanks a lot, Jason. And we do want to let you know that President Trump is making a news conference, or he's making remarks about the impeachment hearings, his first public remarks, and that's being carried live, but we're carrying that on our Bounce channel right now. So that is 3.2 if you're on, if you're able to change stations that way, or if you're on cable, you just go to the 3.2 channel. But again, the president's remarks are being carried live on our Bounce channel if you would care to watch that. We're going to continue our coverage of this weather situation.
Yeah, especially because we're under these tornado warnings, which can be a very serious life or death situation in some cases. So we want to stay on the air giving you this news. And our Steve Onosorge is in Cleveland County, where a tornado warning expired there. But Steve, you've been monitoring these conditions, and you've even seen some flooding behind you.
Well, I've moved into Catawba County now. I've been in several counties so far this morning. This is Lyle Creek, normally about as wide as a two-lane road. Now it covers acres here along Section House Road and Herman Sipe Road. People that live along this river, this creek river today, the water is getting closer to some of the homes, and officials are warning people to keep a watch out for it because the water is still rising. A lot of the runoff from further west is heading this way. And over in Caldwell County, they had to close several schools at 9 o'clock this morning because of rising waters. And when I left there, the waters were starting to come over some of the bridges. Officials there tell me that once the rain stops, they have to wait another 8 hours before they feel they're out of the woods because of all the rain coming down, the runoff coming down from the mountains. So they've got to be careful with that. So officials are telling everybody to watch where you're going. Don't drive through standing water. You don't know if the road has been washed out underneath, and you could get into more trouble than you bargained for.
Keep in mind, it may not last a half hour. If it's moving that fast at 70 miles per hour, this thing is racing off towards the east. So that's the warning right now that we have.
Yeah,
Jonathan?
it's moving with great precision, certainly to the east at this point, and it should be near I-73 in no time. With that in mind, let's go ahead and take Weather 2 here so you can see exactly where the storm is heading into the Albemarle area within the next 5 to 10 minutes, folks. At the very latest, likely on the west side of Albemarle, already getting some storms.
Yeah, and one other thing I want to point out, Jonathan, something we have not seen very much of this morning or now into the afternoon is hail. That is going to become an issue here, though. And the reason for that is, that's right. If you're in Anson, Union, over into Stanley, Richmond, hail will become an issue because you're in the 70s while we're in the 60s and actually 50s back to the west of us. And so that's going to become an issue. We're now starting to see some pretty good sized reports of hail, but that's the active warning that we have right now. Jonathan's got that up there, and you can see Norwood, this is heading in your direction. Troy, that's over into Montgomery County, and eventually Biscoe as well.
And if you see the latest track that we have on there for Biscoe, this is a less than 30-minute period at this point. So this storm is going to race through here. One thing before we toss it back to Mary and John that I don't want to leave out of our coverage today, the flooding. The flooding will be a problem from north to south to east to west today, and especially even through the evening.
Yeah, we have seen a lot of rain this morning and now into the afternoon. That's kind of secondary when you have life-threatening situations, and we've seen the damage that we've seen. But that's a good part. That is a big part of the equation, not to leave that out. But right now, it's lightning, severe wind, and the potential for tornadoes that we're most concerned about. Stanley County, batten down the hatches. This is heading your way. Montgomery County is out of our viewing area. However, we know we have viewers over there, batten down the hatches. And I would be concerned in Union, Anson, Chesterfield, and Lancaster. Eventually, the tail end of this is going to be coming your way. You're in the 70s now. I'm giving you a heads up. This is probably going to become very strong, if not tornadic, in your area as well. We will be monitoring the situation right now. I'm going to send it back to the desk with Mary and John Carter.
Hey, thanks a lot, Al. And boy, we're just getting all sorts of damage reports coming in, and a lot of viewers are sending in video. And again, we've said if it is absolutely safe for you to do so, let us see what's happening around your area as well, so we can get an idea of what other folks are experiencing.
And our Christine Spiro has done that, finding some of these pictures as well as new updates, including from the Charlotte International Airport. Christine, what's
Yeah, I'm seeing here from the airport, they're consistently tweeting out updates for folks. And right now it says the bus and terminal operations have resumed. So that's a sign that they're slowly trying to get things back to normal. That does continue to say to check your airline on your flight status. And just in the last half hour, it also tweeted that TSA operations are resuming, but flights still remain grounded. So again, this is not a situation where the airport is back open and operating. They're slowly, piece by piece, getting things up and running again. In fact, it goes on to say in this latest tweet that the FAA is repopulating the tower. So once those folks get back in the tower and are able to communicate with the planes to try to get them in and out of the airport, then it looks like things will then continue to be back to normal. It goes on to say to check your airline status check your airline for flight status. Also looking at this map from the FAA here, and you notice that it has Charlotte's airport indicated as a black dot. That means that the airport is closed. So again, as we are seeing some operations at the Charlotte airport resume, things are not totally back to normal yet. So no surprise to see that the FAA continues to show and indicate that the Charlotte airport is right now considered a closed airport. But as this storm system continues to pass through Charlotte,
we now are under a tornado warning for Mecklenburg and for portions of Union County. We're watching a storm now skirt just to the south of the I-85 corridor. Once again, if you're in Lake Wylie, if you're in the Pineville area, you need to go to your safe space immediately. I want to now take a wider look out over the city. We are on the west side of Charlotte, and normally we could show you the skyline of uptown. It is completely, we're just getting inundated by heavy rains and lightning right now all across the area.